Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Blessings on you. Blessings on you. I know it's 8 o'clock in the morning, y'all. This morning I'm going to be going out earlier than usual to the library to um, continue writing. I'm working on the new book. And so I'm going to continue having this. Every Saturday is my writing day, so I'm going to be at the library. So I said, let me come on a little bit early this morning and have a conversation with the community of something that I saw yesterday that really kind of just sparked some thoughts in my own heart, in my own head. I titled it The Hip Hop Conversation or The Hip Hop Convo. The Truth Always Rises. So let me give some people some time to get up in here. The Hip Hop Convo. The truth always rises. I'm going to be honest with you. We're going to have a discussion this morning that is going to be a little bit uncomfortable for some, um, but we're going to try. I did put everything in focus mode. So over the last couple of lives, I've been getting interrupted by phone calls when I clearly have that off. I'm not sure what that's about. Hopefully that won't happen today. And if it does happen today, then I'm just going to have to just pre-record this session. But this is very, very, very important. And so I realize it's 8 o'clock in the morning. It's early, right? The early bird gets the worm. So welcome, good morning. The hip hop convo, the truth always rises. We're going to have that conversation, and it might be a little uncomfortable. For some, I welcome those who would want to join in by way of the chat. This is not StreamYard, so this is just regular, but by way of the chat. Move a glow up. Good morning, sis. Good morning. Yes, this is a much needed conversation, and I'm going to get to that conversation at about the 5 minute mark. Can you hear me? Okay, everything good. Let me try and set myself up to where I can get this right. All right. Let me just make sure everybody can hear me and see me. I'm going to put myself like this. Yes, let's get it like that. So I have the headphones in. Audio is fine. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. The hip hop convo. The hip hop convo. Isaiah White, good morning, sir. Isaiah White, good morning, sir. So good morning to all of you that are joining by way of the chat. I'm going to give it one more minute, and then I'm going to go into some thoughts that I've been having. And this was sparked by something that I watched yesterday, and I had watched it before. Mover Glow says, Doc, we really need to talk about why you keep taking the videos down. What about us who work and stuff and can't catch the lives? Oh, you're talking about the Islam. I think you're talking about the Islam videos. I took it down because it got interrupted by the phone calls, and I just so anyway. But I hear you, Sid. I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. I hear you. Mover, you got it. You got to become a channel member again, girl, so you can get those exclusives. Come on. All right, let's get into what we're talking about here today. So I've entitled this the hip hop conversation, the truth always rises. And I want to preface this with taking you on a journey that I had yesterday. And again, I watched this particular documentary before. I watched it two other times. I just decided to watch it again yesterday, not unbeknownst to me. It would really bring out some truths that I think would benefit the community here. And the um it was the documentary that you can watch on HBO, and it was the documentary about the untimely death of Yousef Hawkins. I want to take you through that little story. If you were in New York at that time, you definitely know about the story of Yousef Hawkins. Yousef and some of his friends were chilling out one night, cutting a lot of the story out to get to the main point, and then to get to my main point. But Yousef was with some of his friends, and they were chilling out. They were actually watching some movies in his house. His house was the spot in East New York. Now, keep in mind, East New York is comprised of African Americans, Dominicans, Puerto Ricans. We're not really white people in East New York. And so they're in the apartment and they get a knock on the door from their neighbor who says that he wants to go look at a car. He wants to go look at a car. And he shows them the newspaper where this car that he wants to go look at. And they're all like, bet, let's go. But the car is located in Bensonhurst, Brooklyn. Now, none of them really know anything about Bensonhurst. They really don't understand the climate of Bensonhurst. One of the brothers actually says, Yousef's brother actually said, the only thing he remembers about Bensonhurst was watching The Honeymooners. Now, keep in mind, we're talking about hip hop, right? The hip hop convo. We're going to make this make sense. So, anyway, they get this, one of their neighbors, a young kid, also, he says, let's go. So, the kid's father says, I can't take you. It's too late. So, the brothers, or a couple of them, decide to go take the movies back to the movie store. They said, we'll go when we come back. By the time they got back, Yousef and three others get on a train and make their way to Bensonhurst. Now, let's go in between the story. Let's tell you the backstory of what's happening in Bensonhurst. In Bensonhurst, there is a female by the name of Gina. I believe her name is Gina Feliciano. As far as I know, she's an Italian American. And she apparently was trying to make her boyfriend jealous, or her ex-boyfriend jealous, who was another Italian American young man. And so she's throwing a party, and she tells him and some of the other dudes that are hanging around that she's going to invite some African Americans and some Puerto Ricans to the party. Well, again, this is happening before they start making their way to Bensonhurst. And so the rumors start spreading in the neighborhood. And actually, one of the kids that are part of the crowd is actually an African American kid who grew up in Bensonhurst, right? And he talks about how, he was discriminated against, but eventually they, long story short, they accept him. They, he's kind of, they just let him be. So they hear about this story that all of these African Americans and these Puerto Ricans are coming to the neighborhood. So they meet up in the schoolyard, and it turns out the African American kid goes and he gets the baseball bats, and they claim they're gonna play baseball. This is at nighttime, so I don't know. I can't read their heart. I don't know what was in their minds, but I do know that she kind of got them going. Right now, another testimony from one of the other kids from Bensonhurst, after the fact, when he's interviewed and he's interrogated, they ask him, like, what was the problem? And he said, well, they used to come, they used to come through the neighborhood and give us looks, and we just didn't, we weren't prejudiced. We just didn't want them in our neighborhood. Okay. So this scene is set. Let's get back to Yousef and his boys. They're on the train. They make it. They get off the train. They go to the grocery store, and it is the grocery store that I believe Gina lives above that grocery store. Somebody sees them and lets everybody else know the African Americans are here. There's no Puerto Ricans with them. As far as I know, there's 4 people. It's Yousef and 3 of his boys. Okay? None of Yousef's, I don't believe any of Yousef's brothers are there. So they go to the store. In the documentary, it says specifically Yousef buys a Snickers bar, somebody else buys something else. Boom, they go to turn the corner. They're asking for directions for where this car is. But this mob of kids thinks they're asking directions to where Gina's house is. See how this is working? I'm going somewhere, y'all. We're talking about the hip-hop conversation. I'm going somewhere. This is important. And so as they turn the corner, the 4 of them, the mob comes. Long story short, they're surrounded. And they're asking each other the question, is this them? Now, Yousef and his boys don't know what's going on. It's not clear whether they tell them why they're there. It just, all they see is bats. These kids have baseball bats, and they're surrounding them. Yousef makes his way towards a door entrance right around the corner. There's a door, and he's by that door. And one of Yousef's friends hears a shot coming from behind him, and everybody disperses. The baseball bats hit the floor, everybody leaves, and nobody knew who shot the gun. But he sees Yousef holding his chest, and Yousef collapses. 2 bullet holes. A needless, senseless murder in Bensonhurst. They get word back to mom, Yousef got hurt. Not really realizing the implications of what just took place. So they all go to the hospital, and her mom says, on the way to the hospital, I knew something wasn't right. They all get to the hospital. She's brought into the room along with her husband, Moses, and she's told in no uncertain terms, your son is dead. The why question rings out. Why? Why? My son was a good kid. Why? So everybody gathers in front of the house in East New York. Everybody's there. Everybody's, gathered at this place. Right? And Moses, the father, had heard about Reverend Al Sharpton, who just was fighting a case for another African American girl in the city. I believe it was in the city. So he contacted Reverend Sharpton. He said, in a nutshell, did you hear what I heard? He said, man, I'm too busy to get me. He said, listen, I need your voice. I need your voice. Long story short, Reverend Sharpton decides to go to the house along with members of the Nation of Islam, and they go to the house. And they're trying to find out answers as to why this happened. As to why this happened. Reverend Sharpton says this. He says they're claiming that they are not a prejudiced community in Bensonhurst. We're going to find out. How are we going to do that? We're going to go march. And so they decide to march in Bensonhurst. Now, you would think the community in Bensonhurst would be a lot sympathetic to the fact that a young teenage boy was gunned down for no reason whatsoever. There was no foul play. There was nothing. No reason. Okay. So they go and they march. And Reverend Sharpton and the rest of the marchers see something that they had never really noticed. They knew it was there underneath the surface, but they didn't expect what they saw. And what they saw was a prejudice in New York City, in the North, in a major metropolitan city like New York, which is a melting pot. They saw something in Bensonhurst that they never saw before. They knew it was there, but they didn't think it was this widespread. Now, let me say this. This is not to say that the Italian community as a whole is prejudiced. That's not even what this is about, but I got to sort of paint this picture to get where I'm going with this conversation today. Reverend Sharpton said, and you could see it in the documentary, they actually show the footage, so they can't deny this. You see the venom in both old and young, not caring that these people are marching in grief to find out why this happened. The people of Bensonhurst don't care. You got middle fingers going up from old men out of their windows. You got curses coming out of the mouths of young teenagers. You got young teenagers holding up watermelons. And Reverend Sharpton said, I couldn't believe this. I couldn't believe this in New York City. He said, I would expect this in the deep South, but I would never expect this in New York City. Now I knew there was a feeling, but and he said, this incident caused the world now to see the real feelings of certain groups in New York City towards other groups in New York City. I said, wow, that's huge. That's huge. What does this have to do with the hip hop conversation? Okay, now Isaiah White, you could, yeah. So I'm reading Isaiah's comment. The racism always been here, Doc. That's why there was white. Yo, I know it. I know that, and I definitely know Bensonhurst. Right? That's not what I'm saying. That's not even what Reverend Sharpton is saying. He's saying the event with Yousef now. The reason he marched, he said, they're saying they're not a prejudiced community. We're going to see. The march brought it to the surface, so now everybody could see. See, it was always under the surface. People would saying things like, and they got this in the documentary. They're talking, while they're marching, they're talking to some kids who are on the sides, antagonizing. And they're saying things like, we're not prejudiced, we just don't like black people. They did, like they're saying this on camera. You see what I'm saying? So this brought a real feeling to the surface. Now you can't deny it. This ain't the deep South. This is New York City. Okay, once again, this is not a blanket to Italian Americans. We're talking about a situation there in Bensonhurst. So now, nobody is identifying the shooter. They know who it is. They got him in hiding. Bensonhurst is very mobbed up. Okay? One of the lead mobsters in Bensonhurst at that time was Sammy the Bull Gravano. And so Sammy holds a meeting. They keep marching. They're coming back. And he says, we can't have this. We can't have these marches happening. This is not good for business. This is not good for business. Okay? We can't have these marches happening. And so Sammy says, we know you, the community knows who did this. You got to give them up. Got to give them up. So they give up this kid, and I believe his name is Famo, who they interviewed him in the documentary in jail, and he maintained his innocence. All right. The point being that this situation brought out the true feelings of certain Italian Americans when it came to the YUSEF Hawkins, tragedy. What does this have to do with hip hop and the hip hop conversation? This hip hop conversation has caused what was underneath the surface of how people felt to now come to the surface. Not just the conversation, but people who are making videos. So people like me and others from the Puerto Rican community, from the New York community who are just talking about the history. Now you got others from the African American community who, remember, we said we never talked about this. This was not a conversation that we ever had because we knew. This wasn't a conversation we ever had because we knew it wasn't even a thing. But now that the conversation is being had, now you got the true feelings of certain African Americans on their channels. Notice what I said, certain, on their channels now, expressing how they really feel. And thus you got the name calling, which, guys, is still happening. The truth always rises to the top. So this leads me to believe a couple of things about this situation. The people who are making these videos and these channels, many of them, if not all of them, were not there. So they don't know what they're talking about. They're way too young. They didn't witness anything. Okay? And I'm not even talking about people who are saying, you know what, there wasn't a lot of Latinos in the beginning. That's not who I'm talking about. So I want you to get what I'm saying to you right now. That's not who I'm talking about. I'm talking about the channels that are blatantly using prejudice to make their point, using terminology that is equated with a deep prejudice towards a people group in the name of hip hop, using the term like Latinos, conquistadors, colonizers, those Puerto Ricans. Puerto Ricans can't even dance. Those Puerto Ricans can't even do this or do that. They don't even have rhythm. This kind of language is what we're talking about. See, but this conversation has caused the truth to rise as to how people really feel about the group. Now it's gone beyond hip hop. So you got a certain channel out of California. This ain't even New York. Out of California. And this character don't even know the difference between a Puerto Rican and a Mexican. So he's making prejudice statements using terms that would be definitely prejudiced toward Mexican Americans. And making statements like See, now he's lumping all of them into one barrel. Again, the truth always rises to the top about how you feel. So because you don't like the fact that there now are Puerto Ricans who are speaking out against the original lie. And what was the original lie? Puerto Ricans are guests in the house of hip hop. That was the original lie. So now because Puerto Ricans are standing up, New Yorkers are saying, whoa, 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 no. We're marching. We're marching. And because we're marching, certain people don't like it. So now this dude in LA, he's coming out of his face with Latinos. We ain't ever get nothing from Latinos. Latinos don't even have rhythm. What music do Latinos have that we're copying? There ain't even nothing Latinos are doing now that's making an impact musically. And he keeps going on and on. See, we're marching and his true colors are coming out. Shame on the people that support that channel. The black and brown community of New York City should be in those comments saying shame on you, sir, because you don't speak for us. But that's not happening. But then we got another character up on the East Coast from Connecticut who's just straight up blatant. I'll tell you how this works, though. This is a dude that I was having conversations with, who before microphone check came out, before it came out, we were having conversations. This dude was acknowledging. He wasn't totally in agreement, but he was acknowledging. He's from Connecticut. He knows what it is. Then microphone check came out. And all of a sudden, this dude went on a rampage. We're marching, and his true feelings are coming out now. Now, he's on his channel talking crazy greasy about Latinos. See, the reality is this was always in his heart. This was always how he felt. So he goes beyond what the dude in LA is saying. This dude is just outright he's just letting it all hang out. You know, F them, I mean, he's just letting it all hang out. And I don't know how the black and brown community and the hip hop community watches that and supports that. Because we're marching, right? We're talking, we're making videos, we're showing and proving, and the truth is rising. Oh, we didn't know they felt like that. What? Nah, they don't feel like, yeah, they do. They do. And again, I'm not talking about those within the community of hip hop who are saying, you know what? There was some of y'all there, but you know, it wasn't like that in the beginning. That's not who I'm talking about. They're not talking the way these people are talking. And it's all how you say it. You don't have to agree with it. But you see, just like in Bensonhurst, everybody, nah, they're not like that. That's not that kind of community. That's not that kind of community. Excuse me 1 minute. Let me go get something. How are you? I had to get some tissue. But that's not that kind of community. So when Reverend Sharpton marched, it brought out the truth. Not everybody, but if you watch that documentary, you will see the venom coming out. And somebody would say, why you keep marching though, dude? Stop marching. Reverend Sharpton, like, leave it alone. This is what the people in Bensonhurst were saying. Man, they just need to leave us alone. Let this die down. It'll go away. No, it doesn't go away. It doesn't go away. It's just buried. It's just buried. It never goes away. And with this hip hop conversation, it's not going to go away. Because the truth always rises to the top. This is deeper than hip hop. This is a deep-seated prejudice that should be addressed by both the black and brown communities. That we're not going to tolerate this kind of language, this kind of talk. I understand freedom of speech and all of that, but you're really showing how you really felt in the first place. Okay? Now, are there Latinos who are talking out the side of their face? Yes. And shame on them too. Shame on them too. But again, it rises to the top. So what I'm saying is, while we can agree to disagree, the venom that's coming out of this conversation is coming from a certain group of people who in their heart of hearts had a prejudice to begin with, straight up. And they'll say, well, no, but some of my best friends are Latino. Some of my best friends are Puerto Rican. Okay, then say what you're saying on your lives to their face and see how long they are your best friends. Because it's one thing, again, to disagree. It's another thing to use terms that are laced in prejudice. And that has no place in this conversation. It really doesn't. But the truth always rises to the top. So once again, we were never having this conversation. And again, people who weren't there, if you weren't there in the 70s, you really don't have no place to talk about this. You shouldn't even be talking. And these dudes who are talking shouldn't even be talking. They just need to close their mouth and just learn. Listen, you could disagree, but don't go on racial rampages. And see, we would have never known how people truly felt had this conversation not come out. Now we know how people feel. Now we can see, oh, okay. Okay, so we was down, but we weren't really down because that's really how they felt in the first place. We was guests. Oh, I get it now. Uh-huh. Well, that's interesting because now we got to show and prove. We got to march and show and prove how we guess. See, so this is what I'm saying. There needs to be healthy conversations. And there's other channels. It's not just two. There's more than two. There's numerous who are using this kind of terminology to describe certain people. To describe certain people. That's for infants and childish people to do that. If you can't have a conversation about this topic without making it racial, but it started at a root. And the root was even Latinos were guests in the house of hip hop. And then that story got changed. And then he doubled down again. And then it changed again. See, there was a root. And this is a dude who is known to hang with Puerto Ricans. Thick, deep. But the march has caused the truth to rise to the top of how you really feel. You got other people who are saying, my best friend is a Puerto Rican. Like I said, tell your best friend what you're saying, how grimy you're talking right now. It's okay to disagree. We all have our voice, and we should be able to voice that without feeling condemned. We can disagree. It's not the disagreement. It's the way that the disagreement is coming out. You see? And I'm talking to both communities. Talking to both communities. There needs to be a level of understanding. But again, because of channels like mine and others, we are causing the people's real feelings to come to the surface of how you felt. And then this goes deeper than hip hop. This is on some other stuff now. It's deeper than hip hop. Where hip hop was always meant to bring people together. This conversation is splitting people apart. Now, there are some who are saying, but you're the one having this conversation. You're the one splitting people apart. No, I'm marching. I'm bringing awareness to what's happening. To the lie. Listen, I speak the truth in love. Do I get passionate? Yeah. Do I get passionate? Yeah, I do get passionate. But I speak the truth in love. But it's gone far beyond that now, where people are talking reckless because of their own insecurities about who they are. That statement right there should get some hearts and some love. They are talking reckless because of their own insecurities about who they are. So in order to, that's what a bully does. What does a bully do? A bully was bullied, so now he bullies. And before anybody can bully him, he's going to be the one to do it. It's what a bully does. And that's what's happening. Because of their own insecurities, they're lashing out. It's just like what happened at Bensonhurst, right? Just like what happened at Bensonhurst. This is what's crazy. You had one of the marches where finally Yousef's mom was in the march. After the funeral, and they see his mom with Reverend Sharpton and the father, and they're still yelling racial epithets all at her. And her son was just buried, who didn't do a thing. This is some deep-seated insecurities by people who need help. So all I'm doing, y'all saying y'all don't really feel that way? Let's march. Let's make some videos. Let's make a couple of videos and see what really comes to the surface. And we are already seeing what comes to the surface. We already see it. So in a culture, a subculture that was meant to bring people together, you have people using terminology that is divisive. Latinos and conquistadors and colonizers and those Puerto Ricans, and they didn't do nothing, and those Latinos, and they can't even do this, or they can't even do. That's divisive language. That's how you feel. Respect it. I respect it. That's how you feel. That's how you feel. Now it's coming out. All right, cool. That's how you feel. But the one thing you don't know is you don't know us. Oh, that needs some hearts right there. You don't know us. You don't have the slightest idea about Latinos. Some of you confuse a Mexican with a Puerto Rican. You confuse a Puerto Rican with a Dominican. You don't even know us. You think we're all the same. And you're definitely confusing a New Yorker who was born and bred in the boogie down Bronx with somebody that came from the island. You don't know what you're talking about. And so the conversation is really not about hip hop. It's really about this deep-seated insecurity that is showing through your language, through your videos, through your content of how you refer to people of Latino descent. That's what's showing. That's what's showing. So the hip hop conversation today was all about the truth rising to the top. And what we need to do as a community, black and brown, is when we see that kind of stuff on these channels, we need to comment. This has no place in the hip hop conversation because it's deeper than that. Now it's on another conversation. What did they want to get to the bottom of with YUSEF Hawkins? What they wanted to get to the bottom of was why he was killed and who killed him. We're not prejudiced over here. We don't with them. Okay, let's see. Now we're gonna go march and we're gonna see and I'm telling you, watch the documentary. And this is exactly the kind of language that is being used in these channels against Latino people. It's that same language. But no, we're not. Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. Yeah, you are. And so what we're going to keep doing is we're going to keep bringing the receipts. We're going to keep talking about the culture. We're going to keep talking about this. And those of you that are disconnected, and anybody that gives those people energy, whoever they might be, and again, it's more than two people, it might be 6 or 7 channels that do the same thing. The point is, they're real feelings. And these are people who hide behind cameras. They hide behind, they don't show their face. Now, these 2 dudes I mentioned from LA and Connecticut, they show their face. And I don't know how dude in Connecticut shows his face. But anyway, he shows his face. But a lot of the other dudes, they don't even show their faces. Which lets me know a couple of things. Number one, they're not to be taken seriously. Their content isn't even moving anywhere. I got a channel that you might as well say is dedicated to me. I didn't ask for that. Cool, do it. I mean, you just bringing attention to the platform. Do your thing. But it's not even getting the views like that. It's not even getting, his channel ain't even popping. Because people in their heart of hearts see that this is a deep issue of racial prejudice that's hidden under the disguise of hip hop and under the disguise of showing the true identity of hip hop. No, there's a racial motive underneath that, and you're hiding it under the blanket of hip hop. It don't have nothing to do with hip hop. In fact, many of these dudes ain't even hip hop. They ain't even hip hop. So it is what it is. The way healing begins is by not entertaining that language. And I'm talking about anybody on my platform that does that. I'm going to address you too, and I have been. Because it's unacceptable. It's unacceptable. People are going to have their feelings about this. You got to let them have their feelings. But when it starts turning into name calling with racial slurs, that's a different story. And then it's gone beyond hip hop. And now we know, okay, now we know what this is. This is simply a cloak of how you really felt in the first place. Give that some hearts and some likes. Because what we're talking about makes people very uncomfortable. They're very uncomfortable. Okay? So, all right, let's look at I'll take a couple of minutes to look at the chat. See what I'm saying? This is exactly what I'm talking about. Like, people are here in the chat, they're not even hearing what I'm saying. They can't even make a connection to what's in their own hearts. To what's in their own hearts. So because I'm talking like this, now I'm going through a midlife crisis. It's what's in your heart, my man. You do your thing. You do your thing. I get you, Action. I get you. I understand that. See, I could accept that. That's how you feel. There's no need, and I'm not saying he's doing that. I'm saying there's no need to come and start using racial overtones. You feel how you feel. You feel this is African American culture. All right, salute. That's how you feel. Keep it there and let's move. Keep it there and let's have the conversation as to, see, then the question rises, why do you feel that? And what do you mean? And what do you mean by hip hop? The other question would be, action, is how old are you? Where are you from? Why do you say that? See, this is the conversation. But what I'm talking about is, I don't know if you missed it, right? I don't know if you missed it. This conversation has brought out people's true feelings about another people group that goes beyond hip hop. And that's where healing needs to happen, because we're all part of the human family. Healing needs to take place. Whether you agree or disagree or whatever this is, the reality is this conversation has brought out true feelings from certain African Americans about Latinos, which was there the whole time. It just took something to bring it out. Just like YUSEF Hawkins and Bensonhurst. That was there the whole time. It was there the whole time. People in New York knew how certain people felt about black and brown people. We knew that. But all it took was that march to really show the world. You got New York kids holding watermelons up. This is something you would see from people who display a prejudice towards African Americans in the South. You would never expect to see that in New York City, but the march brought it out. That's what I'm saying. Don't miss the point. Don't miss the point. Infinite 74. Nobody in the world thinks Puerto Ricans. Okay, bro. That's what you think. That's what you think. See, even your language in this comment says a lot about you and how you feel. It says volumes about how you feel. It's all good, baby. Action says Black Americans created the hip hop genre. What genre is that? Rap music? Yes. Did they create graffiti writing? No. Did they create DJing? No. Did they create breaking? No. So what are you talking about? You're talking about the music, rap music. That's what you're talking about. But we're not. I'm not going to get sidetracked. Let's deal with the real issues of the heart here, because this is what people don't want to talk about. You're making these statements because you have an underlying issue with anything other than you. It has to be you. If this don't come from you and you alone, then you have a problem with everybody else. That speaks a volume about you. That's what it speaks, a volume about you. All right, so he's from Phoenix. Action, this is what I'm saying. These are people who are not from New York. He's from Phoenix, Arizona. He's 33 years old. Somebody, let's do the math on that. How old was he in 1975? Yeah, here's another one. Otas, whatever you're saying. But bro. And DJ Biggs is here. The culture was been here. But first of all, get your grammar right, family. Get your grammar right. The culture was been here since before gangs. What are you talking about? First of all, my man, you don't even know. This is what I'm talking about right here. See this dude? See this dude, DJ Biggs? That's a perfect example of the whole example I gave in today's talk. That dude right there. He's one of them. That's one of them right there. See, he'll cloak it. But every once in a while, his true feelings about Latino people come out. It's about to come out. Because he don't like me marching. This is one of them right there. Let's just expose it for what it is. DJ Biggs is one of them dudes. He's from that channel that stopped making videos all of a sudden for a minute now, because that whole channel, that's another channel, is the same way. When we start marching and bringing receipts, oh, their real feelings toward Latinos start coming out. Black and brown community, we got to shut that down. We got to shut that down. We can't even entertain that. Shut it down by not commenting, not going to the channel, not subscribing, not doing nothing. Shut it down. Expose it for what it is. It ain't got nothing to do with hip hop. This got everything to do with a deep-seated hatred. That's what this got to do with. Let's go. Let's go. See, there it is. There it is. See it? Infinite 74. Everybody look at that comment, right? To see that, see the underlying sneakiness of that comment. Look at the underlying sneakiness of that comment. It is laced with racial overtones. Crazy. Crazy. We're going to expose the racism, y'all. That's it. The way it was exposed in Bensonhurst was marching. Sharpton is let's go march. Let's go march. We're going to see what it is. Let's go march. And then the world will see it. Well, now the world's seeing it right here, right in our comments. The world is seeing it. The world is seeing it. Be Active says, why are my messages getting deleted? I'm seeing your messages right here, bro. I just read it to you. Nothing's getting deleted, my man. Oh no, there's nothing sneaky about it. You outrightly letting us know your feelings. You outrightly letting you ain't sneaking. You letting us know what you feel. This is exactly what I'm talking about. I mean, this is what I'm talking about. Bro, ain't nobody crying for acceptance, my dude. Go back to Arizona. Go play in the playpen, bro. You don't even know what you're talking about. Ain't nobody crying for acceptance. I'm bringing out a reality that you don't want to deal with. Your own racial insecurities. And how dare some other group say they had anything to do with hip hop? We created the world. See, that's that kind of stuff that marches bring out. The true feelings of how people feel. And I've already had them tell me that. I'm not saying something they didn't tell me themselves. We created everything, is what they've said. Really? See? This is how I know this goes beyond hip hop, because they start talking about jazz and all kinds of other stuff. I talk about it too, but I talk about it in the context of a connection to hip hop. They just talking about it to talk about it. Stick to hip hop and tell me what you know, man. You can call it crying all you want. I'm touching a nerve and you don't like it. I'm hitting a nerve and you don't like it. And the world is seeing you right now. The internet world is seeing what you're saying. So be very careful, because we already know how you feel. If you don't fit in, find your own space. This is our space, family. Hip hop culture is our space. From the Bronx, black and brown, you don't even know what you're talking about. One more time, how old was this dude in 1975 if he's 33? Hip hop embraces the vast majority. Bro, be quiet. Be quiet. Be quiet. Again, we're touching a nerve. We're touching a nerve. And those that know, there's not even a question. They know. They don't even think about this. This is why we didn't talk about this. We never had to have this conversation. But this conversation is now bringing out the true feelings of certain people. Oh, that's how you really felt. Oh, you really felt like we were guests. Ah, that's interesting. Wow. Okay. Oh. Okay. Oh, okay, okay. I see how it is now. That's how it is. That's how it is. See, DJ Biggs wants me to stop. I wonder why he wants me to stop. Because I'm exposing the lie. Now, there are certain people within this conversation that want this to go away. Stop talking about this. And that's the problem. That's the problem. We can't bring awareness to how people really feel because we understand this is deeper than hip hop. This has gone far beyond hip hop. It's no longer hip hop. Now it's another issue. And the hip hop conversation brought out the other issue. People's insecurity about who they are, and because they're insecure about who they are, now they have to lash out against another people who were with them from day one. Woo, glory. See, here we go. Here we go. Here's another one. Here we go. Black, no sugar, no cream. Yeah, okay, that says right there. Look at his comment. Yeah. Let's bring them all out. Let's bring them all out. Let's bring them all out. And once again, let me be clear. I'm not talking about the people that say, yo, you know what? There was a few of y'all, man, but y'all just, if that's your feeling, that's your feeling. You got the right to that feeling. I'm talking about the dudes that go to another level with it, that got to make this racial, that got to start using racial overtones that have nothing to do with this conversation, by the way. We're saying not only were we there, we co-created, we innovated, we pushed it forward, we brought it to the world, and we did this together. But see, I'm marching right now. That statement was a march. Let's see how much comes to the surface. Let's see what comes to the surface right now. Let's see what comes to the surface. All right, Isaiah. See, Isaiah has his opinion. And Isaiah, I know Isaiah. So Isaiah has his opinion. I'm not mad at his opinion. But the minute Isaiah goes to another level with it, that's where there's a problem. And I don't think he's ever done that. But that's his opinion. He says what he says. He's too young to know this, but he says what he says. It's all good. Respect. See, DJ Biggs. That's how he, look at DJ Biggs. That's how he deals. That's how he deals. Shut the H up. That's how he deals. Because you can't deal, Duke. You don't know this. See, I'm marching and it's rising. You getting mad. You getting mad because you can't compete with this. Go back to that other channel that stopped doing their little things with FaZe and the Mighty Hebrew and Mina and go back to them, bro. Go back to them. Go get some attention from them. Because that's another channel. That's another channel. When we start marching, they start the truth comes out. How they really feel about certain people. Let's go. Mr. Stepper, you're lying to the world. They said the same thing about Jesus, my friend. And I'm not comparing myself to Jesus. I'm just in good company. They crucified him, and he was telling the truth to the world, but they crucified him. They said he was lying. Hey, do your thing, bro. Mr. Stepper, step off. The truth hurts. DJ Biggs, I know the truth hurts. That's why you're here. You're in pain because of the truth I'm spitting. You're in pain. It hurts. I know. That's why you keep coming back to my channel, making your little comments, because the reality is, my friend, you got some deep-seated issues that go beyond hip hop. And that's what you need to deal with. I'm not your counselor. You go get help for that yourself, son. Oh, Infinite 74. Here we go, right there. Right there, right there, right there. See that statement? That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. Puerto Ricans need hip hop. We don't. We will create something else. What? Okay. Okay. Understand this channel is a history channel. What does history do? It talks about what happened at its origin points. That's what this channel does. Let me say this to you nice and slow so you understand, my good friend. Okay? It's a history channel. Okay? Hip hop culture is dead. It's not even alive anymore. We're talking about the history. What you got now, mumble rap and drill rap, that's not hip hop. That's rap. That ain't got nothing to do with the culture. You know who's keeping the culture alive? You know who's keeping it? The dudes overseas in Europe, in China, in Japan. They're keeping the culture alive, the elements. Graffiti, DJing, B-boy, and MCing. They're keeping the culture alive. It's not alive anymore nowhere else. And a couple of these people who are trying to do these events, huh? That's the culture, which you know nothing about. But anyway, I digress. True Teacher is in the building. My man, my mellow, my man, my mellow. Give True Teacher some hearts, y'all. Give True Teacher some hearts. That brother's good. Give True Teacher some hearts. Huh? Jamaica. Jamaica, Jamaica. Yeah, True Teacher. DJ Biggs. From the Bronx and older than you, fool. Okay, good for you, bro. I don't care. What I care about is what you're displaying. We're marching and your true colors have been coming out, bro. I don't know how you live in the Bronx and have these kind of do your thing, bro. Just because you're from the Bronx and older than me, don't mean you're hip hop, bro. Don't mean you're hip hop. The typical ad hominem argument is Mr. Stepper says, "You're lying." Okay. Yeah. There you go. See, look, right there. See what it is? Look at DJ Biggs. This dude has some real prejudice in his heart. Look at what he's false teacher with the forehead. Colorism is in your homelands in South American do exist. Huh? If you're talking about truth teacher, he's not from South America. He's from Jamaica. Okay, anyway. Okay. Ooh, yeah. All right, so y'all, I just said what I wanted to say. I'm gonna be out. I'm gonna get ready to go, grab some breakfast, and get ready to go write my book. Boop, boop, boop. I'm working on chapter 2. And I'm telling you, man, be looking out for it. I'm gonna keep y'all updated. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Ariel M says, "What you thinking about Tupac? What about Tupac? What about Tupac? I think Tupac's heart was in the right place, and I think he should still be here." Enough said. Undisputed Truth is back. Here we go. We marching, and his real issues are coming to the front. Right there. Here's another one. That's another one right there. Colon is lost, suffering from the Walter Smitty syndrome. Okay. None of those things insult me, my man. I'm found. I've been found. 91, I was found. Jesus found me. I ain't lost, bro. But you believe what you want to believe because there's a deeper issue with you. It's more your problem than mine. Okay. Anyway, we going to get ready to go. See, and with this, instead of addressing what I addressed in this whole talk today, they're off on you stole somebody's flag, you stole somebody's music, you don't even know what you're talking about. But okay, enjoy yourselves. But anyway, the hip hop conversation, the truth always rises to the top. And so, what I wanted to say in this whole thing is that this hip hop conversation has really brought out the true feelings of certain individuals that goes beyond hip hop. Okay, and what we need to do with those channels and those people is not engage. The black and brown community and hip hop communities should not be engaging with this nonsense because it's based on something other than hip hop. I leave you with the words of peace. Shalom.